Did you know that investment scams in the US cost consumers nearly $4 billion in 2022? If you're like most people, you probably think you're too smart to fall for a scam. But what if I told you that scammers are becoming increasingly sophisticated, and using new tactics to target even the most savvy investors? Don't be a victim of these ruthless scammers. In this video, we'll teach you the warning signs to look out for, and the steps you can take to protect yourself. Hello, and welcome to this video. I am a financial crime specialist at one of the largest online banks of Europe. And I come across with banking users that are defrauded for investment scams on a daily basis. So, I made this video to educate as many people as possible. Disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes, and does not constitute investment advice. Investment scams are fraudulent schemes that promise high returns on investments, but are designed to take your money. These scams use deceptive tactics such as false promises of easy wealth, high-pressure sales tactics, and sophisticated marketing strategies to lure in unsuspecting victims. The result is often the same: investors lose their hard-earned money, and scammers walk away with their profits. In short, investment scams are nothing more than operations that are meant to deceive and defraud investors. Investment scams are becoming increasingly common due to the rise of the internet, and the ease with which scammers can reach potential victims. These scams can target anyone, from seasoned investors to inexperienced beginners. They often offer returns that are too good to be true, and pressure investors to act quickly, before the supposed opportunity is gone. Investment scams can cause significant financial losses for victims, and in some cases, can even lead to bankruptcy. A common investment scams is Ponzi schemes, where a fraudulent investment scheme pays returns to earlier investors using the capital contributed by newer investors. The scheme's organizer promises high returns with little to no risk, and the early investors are paid these returns to give the impression of a profitable investment. However, as the scheme grows and more investors contribute, it becomes impossible to sustain and eventually collapses, leaving the majority of investors with significant financial losses. On the other hand, pyramid schemes are similar to Ponzi schemes but involve recruiting other investors to the scheme in order to receive a commission or profit. Participants are typically required to pay an upfront fee or make an initial investment, and then they must recruit others to join the scheme in order to receive a commission or profit. As the scheme grows, it becomes more difficult to recruit new participants, and those at the bottom of the pyramid are left with significant losses. For example, OneCoin was a crypto pyramid scheme that was based in Bulgaria, and registered in Dubai. It defrauded investors of an estimated $4 billion, and in 2019 its founders were arrested and convicted for multiple charges. Lastly, we also have to mention a pump and dump scheme, which involves artificially inflating the price of a stock by spreading false or misleading information about the company, and then selling the stock at the inflated price. You have probably watched The Wolf of Wall Street.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Here, Jordan Belfort was involved in a pump and dump scheme, in which he artificially inflated the price of stocks and then sold them for a profit, defrauding investors of millions of dollars. But how can you differentiate investment scams from legitimate investment opportunities? We have to note that investment scams differ from legitimate investments in a number of ways. Here are a few examples. Guaranteed high returns. Investment scams often promise high returns with little to no risk, while legitimate investments come with no guarantees and always carry some degree of risk. As the old saying goes, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Then comes the pressure to act quickly. Scammers will often use high-pressure tactics to convince you to invest quickly. Legitimate investments, on the other hand, will typically give you time to do your own research and make an informed decision. Lack of information can also be a factor. Investment scams often provide little to no information about the company or the investment opportunity, while legitimate investments will typically provide you with detailed information about the investment, the company, and the risks involved. Suspicious payment methods can also be alarming. Scammers may ask you to pay using methods that are difficult to trace or that require you to pay upfront fees before you can receive your returns. Legitimate investments will typically use secure payment methods that are easy to track and verify. Remember, investing your hard-earned money is serious business, and it's important to do your due diligence before making any investment decisions. If you're ever unsure about an investment opportunity, it's always a good idea to seek the advice of a financial professional. Let's go through common red flags of investment scams so you can better identify them. Firstly, be cautious of unregistered investments. Investment scams often involve unregistered securities or investment products. Always make sure that the investment opportunity is properly registered with the appropriate regulatory agencies. We also should mention creative or complex strategies. If an investment opportunity seems overly complex or difficult to understand, it may be a red flag. Scammers often use complex strategies to make their schemes seem more legitimate, but in reality, they are just trying to confuse you. If you receive an unsolicited offer for an investment opportunity, be wary. Legitimate investments typically do not come in the form of unsolicited offers or cold calls. Lastly, let's mention investment opportunities with no track record or history. Investment scams often involve companies or individuals with little to no track record or history of success. Always research the company and its leaders before making any investment decisions. Remember, the more informed you are about an investment opportunity, the better equipped you'll be to make a smart investment decision. Now, let's look at one of the largest investment scam cases in history, to see how these scams are done in practice. The Madoff investment scandal was a massive case of securities fraud discovered in 2008, in which Bernie Madoff, a former Nasdaq chairman and founder of the Wall Street firm Bernard Madoff Investment Securities LLC, admitted to running a multi-billion-dollar Ponzi scheme. Madoff founded the company in 1960 and was its chairman until his arrest in December 2008. His firm employed his family members in high-ranking positions, and his sons Mark and Andrew were involved in the business. Bernie Madoff's investment scam was a Ponzi scheme, which involved using money from new investors to pay off returns to earlier investors, creating the illusion of profitable investments. He claimed to use a strategy called split-strike conversion, which involved buying blue-chip stocks and then hedging against potential losses by buying options. In reality, he used the money from new investors to pay off earlier investors, while providing false statements about their investments to maintain the illusion of legitimacy. Madoff's investment scam was carried out over decades, and involved billions of dollars. He created false account statements and tax forms to deceive investors, many of whom were wealthy individuals and organizations. The fraud was uncovered during the 2008 financial crisis, when investors began withdrawing their money, and Madoff was unable to pay them back. The Madoff investment scandal remains one of the largest financial frauds in history. Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 federal crimes in 2009, and was sentenced to 150 years in prison with restitution of $170 billion. Madoff's fraudulent scheme led to the closure of numerous organizations, including several charitable foundations. Lastly, as promised, let's go through steps you can take to protect yourself from this kind of scams when investing. Firstly, do your research. Before investing, research the company and the investment opportunity thoroughly. Look for information online, read reviews, and check with regulatory agencies to see if there have been any complaints. Also, be wary of guarantees. No investment is risk-free, and anyone who promises guaranteed returns is likely running a scam. If an investment opportunity sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Ask questions. Legitimate investment professionals will be happy to answer your questions and provide information about the investment. If someone is evasive or gives vague answers, it's a red flag. Also, don't be pressured. Scammers will often use high-pressure tactics to convince you to invest quickly. Take your time, and don't feel rushed to make a decision. Do not forget to verify credentials. Check the credentials of the person or company offering the investment. Legitimate investment professionals will be licensed and registered with regulatory agencies. Remember, if you're ever unsure about an investment opportunity, it's always better to err on the side of caution. Seek the advice of a financial professional or regulatory agency to help you determine if the investment is legitimate. Fraudsters use techniques such as guaranteed high returns, pressure to act quickly, and lack of information to attract unsuspecting victims. Protecting yourself from investment scams requires being cautious with your money, and doing thorough research on any investment opportunity before investing. It is essential to avoid high-pressure tactics and seek advice from financial professionals. The Madoff investment scandal is indeed an example of a massive investment scam that defrauded thousands of investors of millions of dollars. To avoid falling victim to investment scams, it is important to be skeptical of any investment opportunity that appears too good to be true. If you received any value from this video, please subscribe to my channel. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. Take care and stay safe.